Hello, and thank you for joining me today on Baha'i 101. I'm Ian, and in this video, I want to tell you the story of how the Baha'i Faith spread from a small living room in Shiraz, Iran, to every corner of the planet Earth. This is the history of the Baha'i Faith. Let's get into it. We start our story in 1844 in the city of Shiraz, Iran, where a young merchant is about to make a declaration that will shake the world. The young merchant, who took the title of the Bab, declared to a single follower in his living room that he had been given a divine mission. He was chosen by God to prepare the world for the coming of a new era and a new messenger greater than himself. The Bab's teachings became the foundation of a distinctly new faith, which departed drastically from Islamic orthodoxy. The faith spread like wildfire among the people of Persia, attracting both the illiterate and the most learned members of society. His followers became known as Babis, and in just 5 years, over 100,000 souls came to recognize the Bab and declare their allegiance to him. This scared the religious and governmental authorities. They did everything they could to repress the new faith. In the 10 years that followed, 20,000 of his followers were tortured and executed. The Bab himself was publicly executed in 1850, just 6 years after his declaration. After his execution, some of his followers managed to retrieve his body and kept it hidden. 50 years later, his holy body was enshrined in Haifa, Israel, becoming a holy pilgrimage destination for Baha'is around the world. The Bab's central teaching was that a new messenger would come to the world to lead humanity into the day of peace promised in all the world's religions. Baha'is believe that Baha'u'llah is the promised one that the Bab foretold. Baha'u'llah was born on November 12, 1817 in Tehran, Iran. His family was a wealthy part of the nobility, but in his mid-20s, Baha'u'llah forsook a life of comfort and became a disciple of the Bab. Baha'u'llah was a leader of the Babi movement, and in 1852, he was detained, tortured, and subsequently exiled from Iran. In the prison known as the Black Pit, Baha'u'llah learned of his great mission. He was chosen by God to deliver a message to humanity, a new revelation that will guide humanity into an age of unity and peace. Upon his release from prison, Baha'u'llah was exiled from Persia, beginning a period of exile and imprisonment that would last the next 40 years. He was exiled first from Tehran to the Ottoman city of Baghdad, then to the cities of Constantinople, Adrianople, and finally to the prison city of Akka in Israel, which he called the most great prison. In 1863 in Baghdad, Baha'u'llah declared to the world that he was the messenger of God foretold by the Bab. During his life, Baha'u'llah wrote thousands of tablets and letters that touch on every domain of human life, and outlined a concrete vision for a united humanity and world. Referring to his revelation, Baha'u'llah said, "The world's equilibrium hath been upset through the vibrating influence of this most great, this new world order, the like of which mortal eyes have never witnessed." The Persian and Ottoman authorities used exile to attempt to diminish Baha'u'llah's influence. This ultimately only served to spread the faith all over the Middle East. In every area Baha'u'llah and his family went, the people who interacted with Baha'u'llah came to love him, seek him out, and many became his followers. This period saw people from Arab Sunni, Jewish, Zoroastrian, Levantine Christian, and Indian Persian backgrounds embrace this new faith and spread to neighboring countries. Baha'u'llah spent his last years at Bahji, in a mansion outside of Akka, passing away in 1892. His burial site in modern-day Israel is the most sacred location for Baha'is. Upon his death, Baha'u'llah appointed his eldest son as the leader of the Baha'i Faith and the official interpreter of his teachings. Known as Abdu'l-Baha, or the Servant of Glory, He served as the head of the Baha'i Faith until his death. Baha'u'llah referred to him as the mystery of God, because even though he was not a manifestation of God, Baha'u'llah told us that he is the perfect exemplar of a Baha'i life. Abdu'l-Baha worked from morning to night attempting to lift the burden of others. He lived entirely to serve those around him. Through his guidance, he actually improved the living conditions of the entire Akka Haifa region. Through famine, he fed thousands. Abdu'l-Baha possessed knowledge and wisdom on a range of philosophical and practical matters that baffled the minds of those around him. He was able to explain seemingly any topic without consulting another written work. He was superhuman. His writings and talks are considered a part of Baha'i Holy Scripture, like the Bab and Baha'u'llah. In 1912, Abdu'l-Baha spent 239 days sharing the message of Baha'u'llah in the United States. He gave speeches at churches, universities, gave countless interviews, and touched so many hearts throughout the United States. Abdu'l-Baha passed away in Palestine in 1921. He was beloved in the Akka Haifa area and touched so many lives that his funeral drew no less than 10,000 people. It was described as a funeral the likes of which Palestine had never seen. A shrine celebrating Abdu'l-Baha's contribution to the world is being built in Haifa, Israel, and will be completed in the next few years. Abdu'l-Baha oversaw the continued spread of the faith throughout the Western world. By the end of Abdu'l-Baha's life, estimates put the population of the faith at around 100,000 people. Upon Abdu'l-Baha's death in 1921, he appointed his grandson, Shoghi Effendi, the guardian of the Baha'i Faith at the age of 24. Shoghi Effendi was endowed with the authority to interpret Baha'u'llah's writings. He also had a mastery of English, Farsi, and Arabic, which placed him in the unique position of being able to translate authoritatively the major works of Baha'u'llah. He personally translated a large portion of Baha'u'llah's writings himself from Arabic and Persian into English. Those translations were then used for translation into other languages, allowing people all over the world to read the Baha'i scriptures for themselves. Shoghi Effendi also set the tone and style for all translations to come. Under his guidance and tireless effort, the Baha'i Faith expanded globally, establishing local and national administrative frameworks on every continent. The pioneers who arose to sacrifice the comfort of their homes, everything they knew, to travel to different countries and continents, to bring Baha'u'llah's world-changing message to humanity, came mainly from its Persian and Western populations. By 1954, close to the time of Shoghi Effendi's passing, the Baha'i population was estimated to be 213,000 people. After Shoghi Effendi's passing, and in accordance with Baha'u'llah's instructions, the first Universal House of Justice was elected in 1963, 100 years after the Declaration of Baha'u'llah. The Universal House of Justice is a body of 9 members, given the responsibility of overseeing the affairs of the Baha'i community and the authority to guide it in applying the Baha'i teachings to an ever-evolving world. Its members are elected democratically every 5 years by all members of the world's national Baha'i assemblies, and it directs the affairs of the Baha'i world to this day. During the 33 years following the first election of the Universal House of Justice, the faith expanded at an incredible rate. It went from 213,000 people in 1954 to over 4 million by 1987. Current estimates hold the faith's population at between 5 and 8 million people around the globe. It is established in over 116,000 localities in nearly every country in the world, making it the second most widespread religion on earth. And that brings us pretty much up to date. We'll get deeper into the lives of the central figures of the faith and what the Baha'i community has been up to more recently in other videos, which you should check out in the links in the show notes below. Catch you on the next one. Peace.